Snow in November for the first time since 2010 where I live. And now Valorant decides to release this. Valorant patch notes 9.10. We got a lot to talk about. There is a lot in this patch that is pretty important. So let's get in. Buckle up. This one's hot, as they say there. So the first thing is this new armor. Now, if you've been following kind of leaks and stuff like that, you'll know that this was a thing that was kind of, leaked and talked about a little bit. So it costs 650 credits. So it's 250 more than light shields, 350 less than full shields here. Its damage absorption is 25 HP. So it is basically the same as light shields, right? It gives you 25 extra HP as light shields do, I think. But it has a regen pool of 50 HP. It absorbs all of the incoming damage taken before damage to health occurs, which is a little different to the shields where, you'll notice if you take some damage, you might end up with like 91 health and, 10 shields or whatever it is, right? Instead, it seems like it's gonna, all come off the shield first here with this one. And after a brief delay, the shield regenerates by draining any remaining points left in the regeneration pool. So essentially, this is like a slightly better light shield. And it costs, as if it was a slightly better light shield. This is an interesting one. I am still of the opinion, personally, that light shields are OP. I don't think the Outlaw is used enough to where you shouldn't be buying light shields still. That is my opinion. And unless your opponent kind of says to you, I am buying an Outlaw a lot, which some people do, right? And if you do end up in one of those games, then of course you don't want to buy light shields. But for the most part, I think in most games, most rounds, that isn't the case. With the Outlaw and the creation of the Outlaw, it's like, when would you buy this? Because you're still gonna die to an Outlaw, right? You're still just gonna die. It still will be useful in some instances. I think it'll be more useful than anything on kind of, more kind of double controller spam type maps, right? Where you're more likely maybe to take a bit of chip damage here and there. My initial assumption is that it's not gonna be the biggest deal in the world. I'm sure there will be some times when you do buy it, and I think at lower ranks this matters more than it does. The more you go up the ranks, the less it matters, right? Because the more you go up the ranks, people are hitting headshots more until you'll just die no matter what shields you've got. So the lower rank you are, probably the better this is to buy. The higher rank you are, probably the less impactful this is to buy. But yeah, there it is. Let's move on to some agent updates. So Cypher is getting a nerf. These are some of the reasons for that. They're basically just talking about, Cypher's pretty good. I mean, we know Cypher's pretty good. He has map-wide info, so they don't want to give him so much kill potential as well. That makes sense to me. They're also going to nerf the ult. So the trapwire now has a 0.5 second wind-up before the full wall hack revealed applies and fades in. So basically, you can hit a trip, but you don't instantly get revealed. Now, it's still half a second, so, you still will get revealed most of the time. But again, this does give you some counterplay that if you're on one of those trips where you know where it is, but it's like one of those unbreakable trips, but you know where it is and you know where you need to aim straight away, that means you can go onto the trip, hit it straight away, and you won't get revealed, right? So for those ones, you won't die necessarily, right? Which is good. I like that change. I think that's a good change, because I agree with them. Like, Cypher is just a bit too strong. And I agree, like, you can't have everything, right? You can't have the full info on everywhere on the map and also be able to kill people. That seems too strong. So I'm with this. I like this, but still your kill trips, right? The kill trips that, like, people run into that are in weird spots, people, are looking around, where do I need to aim to destroy it? They'll still get revealed. You'll still get the chance to kill them. So I like that. I think that's good. The neural theft has gone from 6 to 7. Now, I know a lot of people seem to think that the Cypher ult isn't that good, but at high-level coordinated play, the Cypher ult is often round-winning. So I agree with this. I think this is absolutely fine. Ult cost going to 7. Not the biggest deal in the world, but I agree with it. Okay, Sage. So Sage has been feeling weak with relatively low pick rate in high-level play. We want to continue to hone our ability to stall and slow down attackers. So let's see what they do. So healing ult, self-heal has gone up to 50 HP. Rejoice Sage mains and the heal time match to LA. Heal at around 5 seconds. So you'll get, I guess, 10 HP per second about. The slowing ult will now additionally reduce the dash speed of enemies caught inside the slowing zone by 50%, similar to the concuss changes later in the patch notes. So what this means is, I think, is for agents like Jett or Neon, right? If they're in a slow, it's kind of similar to what a Deadlock Gravnet does, right? Where if you try and dash out of a Deadlock Gravnet when you're caught in it, you just go a tiny amount of distance. It's actually quite funny to look at when a Jett tries to do that. This will be similar. No, I don't think it'll be as much as the grab net, where it kind of keeps you to the ground and you really can't move. But 50%, you'll only go 50% as far. That's a good change, right? That means if you get a good slow orb off, you know, it's gonna be more impactful. And the res has also gone from 8 to 7. Now, again, in high level play, the res just isn't that good of an ult, because teams have just got good at playing around it, basically. Ranked, you know, this is a nice change in ranked, like, because the res in ranked is pretty good, you know, very good. So it coming back down to 7 is good for Sage. This to me, like, I mean, again, in ranked, you know, this is all good for Sage, right? More healing, more ults, you know, better slow orb. Like in ranked, good, right? This is good. At high level play, I don't think this is enough to really, you know, change Sage too much. I think if they really wanted Sage to have high level pick rate, they would make the slow orb the signature ability, but it seems like they're not willing to do that. Deadlock. The Deadlock ult will now always kill the target when the timer expires and they're not freed from the cocoon. Previously, targets only died if they reached the end location before the timer expired. Makes sense. Honestly, it was kind of weird that that didn't happen anyway. And the visuals for the cocoon and the barrier mesh have been updated to make their health states more clear. Okay, cool. Omen. Big one here. Omen has been a mainstay controller in high-level play for a long time. It particularly shines in his ability to create ambiguity throughout the round with low cooldowns on his smokes. However, Omen's ability to place one-way smokes inside level geometry provides significant defensive power with low counterplay. We'll be keeping an eye out here for how these changes affect the overall controller ecosystem. So the dark cover will now always fall to level geometry where players can stand, similar to other spherical smokes like brims or cloves. This should prevent Omen from placing one-way smokes on small ornamental pieces of geometry like the fuse boxes in the main of Split B, and only allow him to place smokes where players can stand. This is a monumental change to Omen. A very, very, very big change. And I really, really don't like the change. I understand what they mean, where there is low counterplay. There isn't really, you know, too much, you know, to do. I mean, but I really don't like this change for one kind of big reason, which is that I like when agents feel unique. I liked each of the smoking agents kind of having a little flavor to them. And it feels like you've kind of taken Omen's flavor away from him. Now he's just kind of vanilla. You know, maybe not the counterplay that they really loved, but there was, you know, ways around it. You know, you could just jet smoke past it and kind of run past it, you know, if you wanted to. Like Cypher Cage, right? There was some counterplay with some pretty popular agents, how you get past these one-ways. So you can still do some one-ways, right? Like the one in A main on Ascent, right? Where you can do a Brim one-way or a Clove one-way or something like that. You can still do. But yeah, personally, I'm not a massive fan of this change. I think Omen needed a nerf. Oh, Omen needed a nerf. Oh, yes, Omen needed a nerf. I don't think that this was the nerf that I would have given Omen, because to me, still, like, you've got the Paranoia, which is still probably, like, the best ability in the game. If you want to nerf Omen, I don't know, maybe nerf the best thing in the game. That would just be my personal opinion. How big of a nerf is this for Omen? Probably depends on the map, to be honest. But maps like, obviously on Ascent, you've got the one in A main you could still do, but of course there's quite a few other ones. You know, you think of like post plants for B and stuff, or post plants for both A and B were very strong with Omen, with some of the one ways you could do. So yeah, there's definitely a level of nerf there. That'll be interesting to see if Astra starts to get some play there, because that's basically what this is going to be, right? Any map where the one ways are important, you know, Astra is now a very good pick. Clove. Ruse, ally versus enemy clarity around Ruse cast for both alive and dead have been approved. It's more red before. That's actually a good change, because I think it was pretty hard to tell. And then not dead yet. Time to kill has gone from 12 to 10 seconds. This was actually a change made accidentally, but it performing well at this tuning. So there you go. It's 10 seconds. Phoenix. Now, obviously, some of you will have seen the Phoenix changes already, but for those of you who haven't seen it, let's just quickly go through it. So the curveball is now the signature ability, so you get a free curveball every round, and you get a 2-kill reset on it. The Hot Hands is now a non-signature ability and costs 200 credits. The Blaze, you can now put it through walls, allowing it to function similarly to Harbor's High Tide. Now, this change is monumental. This has changed this from one of the worst abilities in the game into a pretty good ability. The curveball being the signature ability is also a buff, because that's Phoenix's best ability, so getting one for free every round is good. But this, I think, is a very significant buff, and I'm very excited to see what people will do with this, because I think there's some cool things that you will be able to do with this now that will be quite good. So yeah, big buff for Phoenix. I'm excited to see what happens there. The Jett change, we've got Jett can no longer float while suppressed or detained. Makes sense. Map updates. Oh, Sunset. We've updated the global lightning. How about you change B main again, huh? Huh? Gameplay systems update. So combat report. This one's interesting. So the combat report they're changing because sometimes you would get like a breach flash or a sky flash where you would use your utility and get killed, but you'd also discover that blinded players you never saw or engaged with were there, right? So what they want to change is that you now only get it after the round has resolved rather than immediately upon death. So you'll see an animated hourglass. So basically you just won't get that extra information, which I think makes sense, is fine. Concusses. Well-placed concusses should be just as consequential. So now this is also the same thing as the Sage Slow, which affects Jett's Tailwind and Neon Slide. So if they're stunned, they can't dash or slide as far, which makes sense. Weapons updates. Here we go. This one's pretty interesting as well. So a lot of changes to some pistol inaccuracy here. We'll just dive into it. I mean, it's a lot of basically just don't move and shoot with pistols. That's what a lot of this is, right? So moving whilst crouching inaccuracy for all pistols except the shorty has gone up from 0.1 to 0.5. Right click running inaccuracy for the classic up, right? Burst jumping inaccuracy up, walking inaccuracy up, run accuracy up, and that's kind of the same thing for all of these. The ghost as well here, same for the rifles as well. The rifles, same thing, same for machine guns there. And they're changing the frenzy and ghost bullet counts to be reversed. I like this change. This makes sense, right? The frenzy probably should have more bullets than a ghost. That makes sense. And they're changing the phantom damage fall off as well to make it a bit more competitive. So now there is no longer the 31 damage per bullet. It's now just 35 is 20 plus, but this is 0 to 20. So you're gonna hit that headshot. That kill headshot is now 20 meters instead of 15 meters. So that is a pretty big buff actually. And you're never going to get a 124 again. It will only be 140s. So Phantom against Light Shield has no problem now. That's a pretty significant change, to be honest. That's actually pretty big for the Phantom. I think that's it. Some console changes. And there we go. So a pretty big patch. A pretty big, massive patch. Phantom better, Phoenix better, Omen worse, Cypher a bit worse, Regen armor. Not sure how big of a deal that will be, but a lot in that patch, a lot to get through there, and yeah, I hope I went through it in a decent enough time. It seems like. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, because of course, pretty crazy changes. Let me know what you think.